disappointing loss against the Eagles. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, we've just finished our review, and as you said, disappointing loss, but we seem to think that's not reflective of how our season has been going. Derbies are always scrutinised a little bit higher, and particularly ones where there's an expectation that you're going to win. So I understand that things are a bit magnified at the moment, but we look for trends, and our trend so far this season has not been reflective of what that game was. So we'll look to take the learnings and move on quick.
The contest was obviously where it got away from you as one of the what it means. Like what has to be done with that group to fix that part of it?
Well, I mean, you got to get specific with contests. We were smashed in contested marks, so they owned the skies somewhat, and then around the ball post clearance they were able to beat us in ground ball. So we won clearance, but contest has been something we've been really good at this year. So as I said, there was some elements of that game where West Coast really came to play and beat us at our own game, and we'll look to resurrect that pretty quickly.
What's the mental challenge like, Nathan, when you have a game like that, but you've got a big one coming up on Saturday night?
Yeah, they're all big games, and there is no game in isolation. We've had a road trip over to Adelaide where we played some really good footy but didn't get the result, and we don't hide behind any excuse, but there is a cumulative effect of playing in big games and not quite getting the results, and we probably need to acknowledge that at some level maybe coming back from Adelaide we didn't respond as well as we would have liked to. But we're already moving on to Bulldogs, the Len Hall game. It's a great opportunity. We love to play in that match, and me personally, and already our minds are starting to look forward to coming and bringing a real contested brand.
Like cumulative, as in you feel like you play a big game and you don't get the reward, so the disappointment, is that what you're referring to?
Potentially. I mean, you never know with these things, but we're human. You play games. The emotions are really close to the surface. And you don't quite get the result. That means the review doesn't go the way you'd like it to go, and potentially there is cumulative effect of putting in maximum effort and not getting those results. And I think if we look at our season, other than the weekend, we've been really consistent with our performance. First quarter, round one, and maybe some first half stuff against North, round two. But other than that, we've put together a really consistent performance with our preparation. We've been well coached, and the work that we put in over the pre-season is stacking up. The weekend was not the case.
Longman said it's been a pretty brutal fixture in his post-match press conference. As a player, have you found that? I mean, being away for so long and only having 2 home games out of 6 so far?
They all feel like brutal years, to be honest, and this is the roller coaster of AFL footy. There's been some unusual elements to the start of our season, particularly with the big travel period that we've trialled, but we won't hide behind any scheduling. We'll take that head on, but as I said, this week seemingly was not representative of the way the rest of our season has gone. Our preparation, both leading into games and following games, has been really balanced, and we'll look to continue that.
The Dogs midfield, the challenge of them this week, how do you see that?
I think it's a really big challenge. Their win-loss potentially isn't reflective of how well they're actually going, and they've got some all-Australian midfielders with Bontempelli, Liberatore should come back, McRae, the list goes on. So yeah, this will be a big challenge for some of our younger midfielders and our midfield in general, but we've got Joel Corey on our side. He was at the Dogs previously. We think this is a challenge we're up for.
Is the Bont someone that you enjoy coming up against personally?
Definitely, yeah, and he's playing some good footy. I think he kicked a couple of goals on the weekend too, so another big challenge, and always look forward to playing against, testing yourself against the best players who are in good form.
Has the loss of Freddie and Switter in recent weeks been kind of underestimated, or?
I think so. I think more than that, our forward line mix has been changing every week, so there's some frustrations around our scoring. We want to be able to capitalise more on our entries, and having a rotation of our forwards doesn't allow that synergy to build. So, there's some injury factors that are out of our control, but hopefully we can get some continuity with the 6 that will allow us to be more predictable with our forward entries and kick scores from that.
Have you felt that the first 6 weeks individually?
Well, it's nice to be here talking to you guys and having played all 6 of those games, and I feel each week I build confidence and form, just really, really slowly. But yeah, it's nice to be able to go into the start of a week feeling good, being able to train and continue to work with the other midfielders in our team on improving.
Physically? How are you feeling physically?
Better and better, yeah.
spoke a bit about last year how you're not the same player as you were 5 years ago. When you walk off the field now, what makes you feel satisfied about the game you've had and the contribution?
It's actually a pretty good question, that. And it looks and it looks different to round one. I'm trying to work out what metrics to judge performance on, and mostly it's the impact that we have as a group, and how I feel physically out there in terms of what I think I'm capable of doing at the time and what my body allows me to do. So that's getting more and more expansive each time I get through a full game, and pleasingly again, my expectations of myself are gradually rising again, my own individual performance and where that can go over the rest of this season and next year.
Followed up by not so good question, but Harley Reid, do you see any similarities in the way he goes about it as opposed to you yourself as a young man?
I think he's a very gifted, talented player, but I think Kelly and Yo and all of their midfielders are too.
Just Alex and Luke have had a really good start to their season in the back line, and the Eagles forward line on paper perhaps not quite as strong and athletic as Carlton and Port a couple of weeks before, but they managed to divide your two big backs and conquer them. Has the review identified what happened there? And because with the Dogs they had some big forwards again this week, so...
Yeah, I think we'll start with the fact that Alex and Luke have been phenomenal, and our whole back six has held up extremely well and coached well by Matthew Boyd. And the weekend colours were lowered somewhat, and some of that was to do with the pressure put on the ball by us midfielders. So, yeah, certainly some big challenges coming up this week with the Dogs, and they'll be looking to bounce back to the sort of form that we've gotten used to them dishing up each week.